All right. Well, welcome to podcast number four, three. Let's call it three. Doesn't have a name, doesn't have a number. It is what it is. Today we're talking about Mass Effect Andromeda. We got the new footage from the Game Awards that just happened last night. We all got the Game Informer review and first impressions and a lot of info. And we also got to see some PS4 Pro footage at the PlayStation event. And today I have with me three special guests that are well versed in the Mass Effect worlds. You may have seen them all if you watched any of my Mass Effect 3 multiplayer streams. Introduce yourselves, guys. Don't all start at once.
I'm Albert King. I usually play multiplayer whenever Razor's on and some other games sometimes.
Yeah, I guess I'm Static and I do the same thing, but I don't know about this guy.
I'm Kiri and I play a lot of games and I really love BioWare games, so, gotta play them all.
Whoa, was that a grill? I
Oh
think we
my
have a grill
God.
in here, guys.
Internet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Some kind of
Oh
British
my god, so
person.
crazy.
A British Kiwi girl.
The horror.
So, what do you guys think of the new footage from the Game Awards?
It was great.
Hmm.
We got a lot of info.
Oh yeah.
I want to
Oh,
get
yeah.
my hands on it right now is what I think.
Oh yeah, we don't know when the N7 beacon thing is going to be happening.
Yeah,
But,
that still hasn't been updated. I looked just before.
Yeah, hopefully January. I'm gonna say.
I
That's.
hope so.
I mean, because it's going to be coming out in late March, so I can't imagine.
Yeah.
It's not like a beta or an alpha. It's a tech test. And it's not like the Titanfall 2 tech test where it comes out a couple weeks before the game comes out. It's like, no, this is just a glorified demo. That's all that
Yeah,
this
they're gonna wanna like improve on it. So to get
There's no
feedback-
way you're still pre-alpha 2 weeks before the game's launched, which means you've already gone gold. So yeah. I mean, sure, it was an older build because that's what you have available, but come on. You ain't fooling us. But I'm sure BioWare is definitely looking to test all the things in multiplayer because Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was such a huge hit, and they expect it to be the same in Andromeda. And with the new movement system and the new individual cooldowns that all the powers have, everything's going to be changing. In the campaign, you can't just, pause and go through a wheel and select everything, so... But with that,
But I
you're
want
gonna
my
have
Power Wheel.
yeah, but it's gone. We're more maneuverable now. We can fly in the air. We can go from cover to cover. The curse of the Omni button is going to be gone with the new cover system, and with individual cooldowns, we'll be able to do more complicated things. We have more options.
Yeah,
Oh,
like instant
yeah.
biotic explosions.
Cool
And
guys that look
we even saw that you could biotic charge from the air, which is pretty awesome.
that was so good. Like being able to actually use your abilities mid-air, that's actually going to make
Yeah,
moving
if
around.
only they would work
Yep.
off host. That's the real question.
There are a lot of questions for multiplayer, but they haven't really revealed anything much of it yet. But we'll get back to the multiplayer. So let's focus on what we saw in the trailer. So we know that the Milky Way weapons are coming with us on the ship to the Andromeda Galaxy. So we've already seen the Carnifex on the very first art, over a year and a half ago. We see the Valiant. That's going to be on the cover art of the game. In all the footage that we've seen the Avenger, we've seen the Rieger, we've seen the Piranha, we've seen... we know that the Black Widow's in the game. Well, we saw the Revenant. Am I missing any?
Black Widow, Revenant.
Collector
Predator.
looking one.
Yeah, the rifle.
The
And we don't know what all of them are. Obviously, there's also going to be new weapons because the Ket, which seems to be at least a hostile race, we don't know if they're an enemy race or like the enemy. We are going to be fighting them, and they of course are going to have their own technology because they aren't from the Milky Way. They're from the Andromeda Galaxy, so of course they have their own technology. So we're going to have new weapons as well. But it seems to be all of the returning, or at the very least, the vast majority of the Milky Way weapons are coming with us.
And we can still mod them as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crafting, so we have slots for mods, and it's probably going to be like we can add things that we find out in the field as well as things that we craft. I don't think it's just going to be you have to find things to craft, or you can only find mods to craft. I think it will be a combination of the two.
Yeah, they said that you can find things, steal things, and craft things.
Steal things sounds very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we know that's the way that the skills work are going to be completely different. You're no longer going to be tied to Vanguard or Sentinel or Infiltrator. You're able to use any powers you want from any of them. Of course, you can always specialize, and let's say if you specialize into the stealthy ones, then you'll unlock more Infiltrator bonuses because you've already put a lot into that tree, for lack of a better term. But if you like put a bunch of powers from a bunch of different branches, then you become the Explorer class. So you unlock bonuses if you put more power points into specific classes that we know of.
Now, what I'm curious about is if you cloak, do you still get when you shoot a power, it stays powered up for the whole duration of the? Or
it could be
if
interesting.
Someone goes cloak flamer. That's all I'm worrying about.
Someone goes, wow, that's a lot of damage potential.
Yup.
But we will be able to do that, but we don't know how the evolutions of tactical cloak are going to work. And also everything has its own individual cooldown, so all of that is really up in the air.
We're all figuring that it's going to work the same way where you cloak, you get a damage bonus. So I'm worried about if the cloak stays the same, where it will, at least in Mass Effect 3, where as when you cloak and then use the power, it has damage boost for the rest of the shot power, what's that power?
Dark Channel, maybe?
Proxy Mine?
Dark Channel, Proxy Mine, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of Dark Channel and Warp, where it basically just melts the enemy.
Yeah, the insane.
Have that applied to Flamer.
Yeah, Warp.
Yeah, we saw a human using a flamer. That's pretty crazy.
And electricity. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I want to see.
So we saw this biotic shield that you could throw up. We saw a deployable tech armor cover system that we saw someone throw down in front of a door right before they opened
Cerberus barriers that you see in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Hex design.
Yeah, very much so.
Spike.
So we saw Cryoblast, Incinerate, Biotic Charge, Multi-Frag, looked like Concussion Blast.
And Adrenaline Rush should look like as well.
Tactical Cloak. What other? Flamer, of course. We saw a Turian wearing tech armor, so one can assume hashtag tech armor confirmed, the best power of
tech armor confirmed.
Also, female Turians confirmed.
Yes, female Turians. Yeah. We saw more than one, and neither of them died 4 seconds after being on screen, which is awesome.
Oh, it was so glorious.
And we know we're going to be with the female Turian. I don't know if she's going to be part of the crew or someone that we're just working or helping with, but we saw more than one of them, and we at least going to have some relationship with one, which I think a lot of people are excited for.
My hands up in the air.
Does she have the rage or the flexibility? I'm worried about.
I mean, if Garrus was such a popular romanceable option, one would think a lot of people want to bone a female Turian.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a nice
character first.
It was a missed opportunity from Omega, to be honest. In my opinion, it was a missed opportunity.
Oh, when I first played Omega, and I was like, "Oh my god, a female Turian! They do exist. This is awesome!" And then, rip in peace.
And then the plot happened.
Yeah,
and it was a plot shock as well. It wasn't even for a good reason. God damn it.
Yeah, it's almost like she was just an ancillary character.
Hey, at the end of it, I got a sweet chessboard.
All glory to the chessboard. So, as far as alien races go, we know that the council races and humans were going to be coming, and we saw Krogan at the PS4 event, and now we've seen a female Turian. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a Quarian as well in the.
There was a what?
I think there was a Quarian in the trailer as well.
Oh, really? I haven't heard anybody talking about that.
I think it was in the combat section when you charged up like the top of the tower. I think it might have been a Quarian there. Like, I could totally be wrong, but it just looked like one to me.
I mean, it could be just another mysterious race in an enviro suit. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. It's just what it looked like, so it's like, maybe.
In the Andromeda Galaxy, Volus is a really tall and thin, huh?
You can actually take cover and get grabs. It's great.
So we know that not all the Milky Way races will be coming back. So I think we're gonna have to say goodbye to the Elcors and the Batarians.
They were doomed anyway.
Yeah, and
Homeworlds were overrun anyway.
Yeah, probably no Drell.
No.
No Yogg.
No Yogg.
R.I.P.
There were so many Yoggs in the Shepard trilogy. But we're also going to get new alien races. Obviously, the only one we know of so far is the Ket, and so those are going to be interesting. Of course, they're playing a lot of it close to the chest because they want us to be surprised when we play the game. And this is the last footage that we'll ever be seeing of a game that is coming out 5 months from now. But
even if they're not inherently hostile, they might be like neutral, like aggression or something.
Yeah, because in the Mass Effect trilogy, we at one point shot at everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody that's a combat unit. We never, freaking shot at Blasto or anything. Although we did point a gun at him at one point if you chose that option. Yeah. But, I mean, that dude can hold 6 arc pistols, so I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah. It might just be that it's like specific groups that we just antagonize, just a couple of groups and have to fight them because, we pissed them off. It may just be that instead of all of them are evil, we must exterminate them, kill them all.
Right. And that's, I think, an interesting direction that they could go as far as romance goes. What if they have like a Ket, like say the Ket are the bad guy race and like they're all out to get you. Let's say one of them becomes a romance option. It's like we've never been able to romance a villain or something like that before, at least in a Mass Effect game. I don't know about Dragon Age or Knights of the Old Republic.
There's a mod that you can romance a villain in Dragon Age. It's not an official thing, though.
Yeah.
So, as far as romances go, they say that there's going to be more options in Andromeda than any other BioWare game before.
Dragon Age Inquisition had 9, so it has to be at least 10.
Okay,
Okay, technically 11 if you count the kind of romance option that counts. So
I think you do.
11. 11, okay, fine. More than 11.
More than 11.
At least 11, though.
Yeah, and they say that the romances are going to be very different. Some people are going to want to bang right away. Some people are going to want a long-term relationship. Some people aren't going to be really interested in romance. And some I think are going to be like more heavy than others. Some are going to be with crew members. Some are going to be with squad mates. And there might even be others, out there. Like sometimes you would see if you carried over a romance from 1 or 2, but the character wasn't present in 3, then there wasn't always a romance on screen of both characters. And they say they're not always going to be boning. And there's going to be other moments like shooting bottles with Garrus. They say there's going to be a lot more moments like that. So not only are there going to be more romance options, but there's going to be different types of culminations. And it's not going to be like timed, they said. You don't have to like just pick the right dialogue options before a specific time in the game in order to complete, a specific kind of romance. So they're changing up quite a few things.
They're kind of going in the DAI way, but like improving on it and making like extending it out and improving on it.
So what about dating, like outside of missions and exploring? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, I feel like some of them could definitely be going down that route. Mm-hmm. And of course, you're also going to have relationships that aren't romantic. Maybe because, your sexualities don't, mix up, or they aren't a romanceable option at all. You still have to build a relationship. Like, depending if you pick Scott or Sarah, you still have a relationship with your sibling. And it's a very important relationship, they say, in the Game Informer article. So we know that you're going to pick either Scott or Sarah. Ryder, and your father is the Pathfinder for the humans, and something happens to where you become the Pathfinder. So it's a lot different than with Shepard, because Shepard was already a hero and was being groomed to become, a Spectre. He was going to be at least partly in charge of this really cool new ship, along with this, this other Spectre that's a really cool guy that's totally isn't going to betray us right off the bat at all. And all of a sudden, you weren't like second in command. You were the first in command. You were in the command of your own ship, and everyone had to answer to you. But here, it's completely different. You're unproven. You're an N7 officer, sure, and your dad is the Pathfinder, but you aren't already a hero. Your story is just starting, so you're gonna have to prove yourself. And I think that's an interesting way to go about it. Now, I know we've heard some people complain that Ryder is just another blank face BioWare main character, but I think that's the best option because this isn't Uncharted where we're playing a personality like Nathan Drake.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to BioWare games, they want you to put yourself in the main character's shoes, so it gives you more freedom.
Yeah, at least part way.
Yeah, so it makes it more personal because you're in charge of how they act and how they look, and you customize them and whom they form relationships with.
More emphasis on player agency.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The character.
It's like you're still playing in their shoes, but you are like crafting the marionette strings as they go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one of the weird criticisms I think BioWare games get. It's like there's a reason for that. So
Makes it engaging. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. They want everyone to have their own unique experience, and when it comes to Mass Effect, the gameplay is important, the story is important, but to them, the characters among the fans, that's the most important thing, and the relationships you build with them, and they've recognized that. And so they're bringing back loyalty missions from Mass Effect 2, and they're having a bunch of different kinds of
they're not mandatory, which
options.
I'm not a fan of. I want them to be mandatory and make them have consequences. Give me the consequences of my actions, damn it.
Well, they might have consequences because, like in Mass Effect 1, where there's, a very important decision to make, well, in a couple different instances, maybe if you aren't friendly or haven't made a loyalty mission with somebody, maybe you don't get a certain dialogue option, or somebody doesn't trust you, or somebody doesn't, go with you, or, disobeys your orders, or something like that. There might be consequences, but they aren't absolutely necessary to complete the game.
Yeah.
There were those kind of subtle consequences in 3, though. Like, you could have Kaidan trust you or not trust you in ME3 when you confront Udina. And if he doesn't trust you, then the conversation plays out differently, and then everything else that, comes after that conversation is affected by if he trusted you or not. So it doesn't always necessarily have to be a, do this or they die. But it can just be a, do this and you get this instead of something else entirely.
In contrast to Shepard's story, when we complete Mass Effect 1, we know it's not over because the Reapers still need to be dealt with. But here they say that it's going to be open at the end for there's going to be more to explore or something, but it's going to be a concise story. So this isn't the Ryder trilogy. They aren't setting it out to be a trilogy. They aren't setting out for Ryder to come back in another game. But there's going to be the possibility, and I think all of us would be surprised if there wasn't a new Mass Effect game after this one, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with Ryder or what that story is. They say it's a closed story, so we know that the exploration team is out there to find one of the golden planets for humans to colonize on Andromeda. That's the whole point of the game, and all the arcs going out there is to colonize a new galaxy and new territories for all these different kinds of races. So we don't know if that's how the game ends. Do we pick a planet and then we start a civilization? Do we defeat a threat? Do we make that galaxy more peaceful? But they say it's going to be, a tied up story, but open for something else to happen.
Yeah, like what they did with the Dragon Age series. It's like, it's not a set, 1, 2, or 3. It's a 1, And it's one, and one, but the universes are connected, but not
Yeah.
like so connected that they tie into each other too much.
Exactly. And we know this one has, is 500 or 600 years apart
I think
from
it was like 6.
from the Shepherd. So yeah, 600 years apart. So it's super duper. It's 600, light years, or it's 600 years of travel away. I don't know if they're going FTL the entire time or whatever, but it's super far away and it's super in the future. But of course, we still have, the same aliens and the same technology because that's what we brought to that area, but there's also going to be new stuff. So what do you guys think about our new all-terrain vehicle, the Nomad?
Oh, the not Mako?
Well, BioWare said that we know some people loved the Mako and some people hated the Mako. So
it ran like a fucking tank, but it was fun.
That's Shepard
And frustrating.
driving.
the zigzag driving up an incline for half an hour to get somewhere.
Oh,
That was
yeah, it was
fun.
great. I
Driving.
loved it. And the whole
Love it.
like plain barren landscapes. Oh, they were beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little easier to drive. If you guys remember, this was about a year ago. A certain BioWare developer that we all know was gauging what we thought about the Batmobile in the Arkham Knight game, because they might be looking to change things up with a certain vehicle that would be driving in Andromeda. So that's that I liked the Batmobile in that game.
I also like the Mako.
I think they're going to have a nice mix. They're going to bring back what we liked about the Mako and change what we maybe didn't like. I don't know if anybody didn't like anything about the Mako. I thought it was perfect in every way, but there's going to be some changes.
It's been a while since I played the first game, so I don't really remember much about the Mako.
Like my favorite part about going in the Mako is like when you're planet crawling, you just like tap the A button and just watch it bounce.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, bouncing is
Bounce,
great.
hit the ground, bounce, hit the ground. It just keeps getting higher and higher.
Yeah, or if you see the giant Geth in the distance, and you're like, I'm just going to park it right here where the turret can peek out behind this rock, and I'm just going to pew pew.
Yeah,
That's
I
just
remember
very
when I first started playing it, I didn't know there was a zoom, so I just kind of eyeballed it.
Nice.
Hey, I hit my target every time. Well, 90%. It's more like 80. Yeah.
Actually, I never hit. Actually, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh, with the machine gun, maybe.
I mean, as long as it's better than the hammerhead, they can't really do much worse.
Oh, Hammerhead was good.
No, it's not.
I mean, you literally took 3 hits and died, but it was good.
No.
Whatever
That
happened
thing
to the
broke
days when our ships weren't named after sharks?
So our ship still looks Normandy-esque, not gonna lie.
The Tempest,
Yes.
it's a lot smaller and faster because it's a scout ship.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't designed to be a compact frigate, so...
So I don't think it's going to have the offensive capabilities of it, and it's smaller. And they said there's going to be no loading screens within the game, within the Tempest. You'll be able to just walk the length of it. No elevators, no checkpoints, no black.
There's not going to
screens.
be in-your-face loading screens. There's going to be smart loading screens.
Exactly. If there
Yeah.
are any, they'll be masked.
Which maybe means that we're going back to staircases if there's multiple levels.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't. Just
Yeah.
eyeballing the size of the ship, there's probably like 2. At some point, there's going to be inclines and declines.
At least 3
Probably
levels of ship
Side
to
of
go
your
through,
Wartor ship.
maybe, from looking at it.
Yeah, and they said that just like in the other games, you'll have all your shipmates in a static portion where you would talk to them and all that good stuff, and your sibling's
Yeah.
going to be there, and so we don't know what happens to make you the Pathfinder. One would assume that this means your dad dies, but I also read in the Game Informer article that you can customize the way that your dad and your sibling looks. So, and you're going to have the
assume that
relationship with
like-
both of them.
I feel like that means like the start of the game. Like when you start the game, you customize you customize Ryder that you're gonna play, and then you kind of customize the other two because they did say to a certain extent you can customize Dad
Right.
and
You can customize, I think, all your squad mates more so than you could in the other games, but not as much as you can yourself.
Just don't make
Yeah.
Scars PC exclusive, please.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I hope
please.
there's no console or platform exclusives.
and
Yeah.
how that hair that actual humans would wear and pick. It can still be human hair and also practical. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Well, hair is one of the most difficult things to make in a game.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Just like in real life, right, girls? Okay.
Wah, wah.
It's funny because guys don't do anything. Most of us don't. And it's great
Bugger.
because it's fantastic not having to upkeep anything and it's still looking okay.
Bugger off.
I've got a fantastically glorious mane going here. All right.
Yeah.
I shampoo and condition every day.
Okay.
Twice a day even. So as far as the story goes, we're very much left in the dark. We do know what two of our squad mates are going to be, PB and Liam. So PB's that Asari, and Liam is a human male who has like a police officer security background, but he's also like kind of like lighthearted and like jokey kind of a guy from what I've read. So those are the only two squad mates that we know of so far. What do you guys hope to find in your squad mates?
We have Vetra as well because that was who the loyalty mission that was supposed to go on is for. That may be the Turian, but I think it's Vetra, maybe Vetra, but I think it's Vetra. That's another character that they're kind of just sliding in there under the radar and not talking
Maybe
about yet.
Solarian, maybe. Maybe
might
a
be
new race.
Yeah, we only saw a glimpse of one Solarian in the last footage we saw, but here we saw a lot of Krogans, and we did see Krogan for the first time at the PS4 Pro reveal. But here we saw quite a few Krogans. Maybe one of them was with us, but a lot of them were wearing the same kind of armor, so we don't know if that's like a
I'd like to see a Krogan on the squad.
yeah. I would.
Be great.
Yeah, I want to get back.
Especially if they're gonna have like at least 10.
Yeah, I hope he's not one of those tank bred motherfuckers.
It may mean
that's
that
great.
that we
I'd like to
eventually
smash.
get to meet up with the other arcs, or they send ships back towards where we end up. Don't know yet.
Well, we do know that humanity is looking at one of the golden planets. We don't know how many races are. We know the council races there, and the Krogans, obviously. We don't know how much later we arrived than them, or are others arriving later. Maybe we aren't the last ones to arrive there, or maybe we all came at the same time. We don't really know the exact details of the timeline, especially with our Ryder character.
I believe it's been said that we might leave after like Mass Effect, like somewhere in between after Mass Effect 1 and like before the end of Mass Effect 3.
Yes,
No, I think they said between 2 and 3, like specifically.
Okay.
It's before the Reapers are. It's before we know the Reapers are real and they're coming. is
So
what we're
yeah,
leaving.
so at
Definitely
least
then.
before 3
Yeah.
and probably after 2.
Maybe after
Yeah.
2, maybe during 2, but that's
Maybe
getting
I
into
find
semantics there.
During too hard to believe.
I don't think it's going to be a point that they address or specify because it's really not important to this.
No,
story.
it was just like a
People
point.
are going to have questions because everyone wants everything to relate, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are other characters going to be returning?" It's like, well, none of them made the journey, so I would doubt it.
Well,
Is
we're not-
Solarian going to be the very model of a scientist Solarian?
I would hope so. I think Morden was one of the best characters in the trilogy.
He was.
Yeah, but maybe they'll worry about trying to make a character too similar, so they won't even try.
That's very true.
Yeah.
They've definitely have a lot to live up to that they don't want to seem like they're trying to emulate or copy or improve upon. Because if you look at like the most loved companions, obviously Garrus is number 1. He's pretty much the most loved.
Tally's up there.
A great wingman. You know, he was, you know, a good fighter. He had a sense of justice, you know, coming out of CSEC. And he was your best friend first, and then possibly a romantic interest if you decided to go that way. Morden was great. Tally, you know,
Tally was definitely up there. Probably
Tally was definitely up there.
absolutely. I mean, because
second, if not first, really.
she doesn't have a hidden agenda. She's very honest and kind of puts things in perspective.
Quirky
And
Quarian, you know.
yeah, she's important to her. Like a lot of the characters are really important to the furthering of their story, of their race. We have Morden, who's, you know, going for a redemption after the genophage.
Yeah.
We have Tally, who's, you know, on her quest to bring something good to the flotilla, and, you know, she has an important family. And then you have Rex, who's kind of, you know, by the end of things, he's like the leader Krogan warlord, and we know he's someone that we can
not so
trust.
much. Or
We don't talk
not
about
so
that.
much.
We don't talk about that.
I left him on the sandy beaches.
Aww,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, and then you can kill
course.
Reeve later on.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, with Liara, you know, we're going to have an Asari here very early on. We don't know the age of her. We don't know if she's like, she could be the youngest Asari we've ever encountered. She could be, well, I don't know what exactly like the physical signs of aging are for Asari off the top of my head. But
I doubt she's a matriarch age. I
It was
doubt
the
Yeah.
color of their skin. Like, the older they get, the
Yeah.
more purple they, I think it.
yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if she was the youngest Asari that we've encountered, because she's a loose cannon. She arrives on the Asari arc and then goes off on her own. She's a lone wolf, and we try to get her, you know, to join our cause here with the Tempest and our new protagonist. And
Sayar was like a what, 150?
she was,
She
like
says as much
124, I think.
the first
is what
game.
she says in
yeah, I know
three.
she was over 100, but she was still pretty young. She was just finishing up like her schooling and stuff at the time.
Hashtag the Mass Effect wiki.
And I doubt that she's older than that.
Yeah,
Maybe, possibly. Or
probably
probably
not
around the same.
very old, and she seems to have a
She
somewhat
was
playful personality from what we've seen thus far.
106 years old.
Yeah. So PB has a bubbly personality. She's smart and not particularly concerned with norms or social niceties. So that definitely sets her apart from the other Asari that we've seen, which is
Yeah.
nice. And as far as Liam goes, the article says he has a history as a police officer, so he serves in a security role. He's idealistic and enthusiastic, has a light attitude, adds levity to situations, hopeful of humanity's future, and supportive of Ryder. So one would gather that they would both eventually become romanceable options.
He's going to become the Caden, I can feel it.
That is quite possible because, I mean, the first people that you encounter in each game are all romanceable options.
Usually the canon implied.
Hopefully he's more interesting than some characters in some people's eyes, but people, like we said, they get really attached to these characters.
Like Caden.
Yeah, we've seen
More
people,
interesting than Cough Cough Jacob.
Oh,
so many
such a fan.
people getting mad what they did to Jacob between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And some people crying when they kill Caden for the first time.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was great.
I didn't feel anything.
Oh, sorry, Ashley. Just had to let you go that first 2 times. Not the third, fourth, and fifth, but the first 2
I'm
times.
sorry I
had to
couldn't
let
hit
you
that button myself.
Wow.
Yeah, but there might be impactful decisions, maybe not at that level, or maybe at that level, in this game, but we know it's not set out to be a trilogy, so we don't know how big of a consequence many of these things have, because Shepard is, you know, already a hero. This is clearly his path, his arc. He's the one who touches the beacon. He's the one who tries to warn the Council of the Reapers. So we know
they're the
his-
ones who tell him to fuck off.
we know his role from a very early onset in the game, but with Ryder, we don't honestly know. We know that he or she becomes the pathfinder for humanity, and that's really all we know. That's set out for the character. Of course, the character has to be impactful. There has to be a reason why you're playing this character. They are in charge of the Tempest ship, one would gather. So, you know,
For all we know, Ryder like commits a galactic crime like right at the end of the game and gets thrown in jail, and that's just how it ends. Like it just opens with, just ends like that.
So it starts with Gears of War. You're breaking him out of jail.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it directly, but yeah.
PB, give me ammo. I don't see that coming. Just my guess. Because the game starts with your dad as the Pathfinder, and something happens, and then you become
Former
Pathfinder.
N7, and then Pathfinder.
I think they've said about Sarah and N7 representatives. I think it's operatives. Sorry, I think it's just Alec Ryder who's N7. I think the other two are probably Andromeda Initiative. If going by some of the icons in the trailer,
Right? Because we know
Yeah.
the person wearing the N7 armor and all of the early stuff is Alec
That's Dad.
Ryder. Yeah, that's old Daddy Ryder,
that's Daddy.
voiced by the good old Mr. Krabs.
Clancy Brown.
Yeah, for those
Clancy
who don't.
Brown. Mr. Krabs, by the way, turned 74 a couple days ago. Old dude. Still manages a successful restaurant under the sea. Good for him. Hopefully one day he'll re-find love. I don't know how he has a whale as a daughter. But I digress. We're not talking about whales. We're talking about the Mako and its brand new form. And how
No,
it's
you mean the
gonna-
not Mako.
the not Mako. I said brand new form. It's going to jump and it's going to ride on walls.
It
So,
has speed
Dude,
boost.
the thing the
by
dolphins
looks of
do when they on their back flipper.
yeah. So we're all interested very much in multiplayer. I mean, we play it pretty much every week. And the movement is going to be the same for multiplayer to single player in contrast to how it was in 3. So that's nice to look forward to. You're
What I
going to be able to...
noticed about the camera system is like when you're idle, it like zooms a little bit, or at least when you're
right.
not in motion.
Yes. I forget there was another game that did that when you weren't in action. It like changed the camera perspective so you can like, I don't know, become more immersed in it. Become more of a wide
Skyrim.
angle.
If you're not
Yeah,
moving,
Skyrim
then the
also
camera
did
will just
that
start panning
slightly as
around you.
well. Yeah.
Right. But multiplayer is going to be getting a lot of changes. We're going to have new powers and the single cooldown. The Omni button is leaving us. But we'll still
The
be
new
able to...
cover system.
The what?
The new cover system as well.
New cover
It's gonna
system?
carry over. Oh.
I didn't
So how does
see
the new cover
if-
system work exactly?
like,
I've
straight up
never
crouching.
seen it.
You instead of hitting A to take cover, you flick forward on the analog stick, and you
That's
can...
not freaking annoying.
I mean, I haven't played it. You haven't played it. We don't know. Maybe it's perfect. Maybe it's almost perfect. Maybe it's just a little bit better. We don't know.
It's gonna
But
get pretty
it should be
bad.
better. It should be better than Omni button.
It's no longer sticky. That's the main point.
Yes, you can get out of cover easily, and running and taking cover won't be the same button, and healing, and the objective, and 100
If you
other
can
things.
reassign that to a paddle, like with a
Oh, I know.
control that you have,
If
would be better.
that would be ideal. Not many game developers have a controller with 4 extra buttons in mind. I would love it if they did for this specific instance, but we don't know what kind of customizable options for controls they have. Hopefully, as much as we can handle, but we can't really get our hopes up for that. So we'll be able to set the difficulty, and we'll be able to set the enemy faction. Obviously, it's not going to be Geth or Collectors or Reapers or
yeah, but who would
Cerberus
select
anymore.
the faction in the enemy, or the enemy in the map, or whatever? It's just like give me brand unknown.
Hopefully,
difficulty.
Unknown will give us more XP. Hopefully, that's
anyway.
yeah. It does. It does, but hopefully, it'll also give us more credits. That's what's
That's what I'm
most
interested in.
important. Yeah.
Oh yeah, more credits.
We know that there are going to be modifiers like increase your health or increase
It's
or
enemy's
decrease your health or increase your damage or decrease your damage, and I'm sure 100 other things.
One hit shields, like the arena stuff in Citadel.
Melee only. That'd be fantastic.
Oh god, no please, no metagel.
No metagel, no rockets. I could see that being a thing.
No rockets
No
would be much of
metagel.
a challenge.
Yeah, it wouldn't be, but any kind of extra bonus to XP or credits, I think would be a welcome addition.
Yeah, like the
So
Like,
if
if
you
they did
use
that,
these
it'd be-
modifiers, it'll change the payoff at the end of the match. And we know that
like the
BioWare,
beneficial ones. Would,
yeah,
probably
you'll get less
institute
credits
less.
if you use something that's good for you. You get more credits if you do something that's
Yeah, they
detrimental.
also did that in the Citadel
To your
DLC
success.
arena mode.
And they're also planning regular released custom crafted missions that use unique modifiers players can't select themselves. I don't know if this is going to be, they have, 100 and you have to, complete them all, or if there's going to be a daily one and a weekly one, or multiple daily ones or multiple
They're gonna
weekly
give a
ones.
banner.
Yeah, I assume there's going to be banner rewards.
Are they gonna have events that go like all year?
Who
Yeah, that's what I'm
knows?
thinking. That sounds like events.
It's definitely something they could take or leave. I'm sure, we don't want some of those to be timed exclusives, but some we do
Yeah.
because
I
they'll
want the
make us feel
events,
special.
but I want them to be like they will refresh like at the end of the year. Like when they come back up again, they just open.
Well, they did say that there will be content after launch included, and I think they also cited multiplayer as well. So they said there's going to be New Game Plus, and you can actually change your gender this time. And you can also count on post-release updates for multiplayer mode,
Of course.
enticing you to jump back in once single player is complete. And there's no galactic readiness, so multiplayer isn't going to have an impact on the ending of the game, but it actually will do something for your single player. They haven't said what yet.
But I like the
That might be that
galactic map
Nexus thing.
It was interesting.
So
I
they
just
said,
you
said
can
for Reapers when
like-
I finished with the beginning of the game. It was great.
You can also
Just
like
like-
work towards a specific thing to get multiplayer as well,
Right.
instead of just having it all left to the RNG gods.
right. So the major addition is a third currency beyond XP and credits called mission funds, and these are obtained by finishing BioWare's aforementioned custom crafted missions with unique modifiers. This currency allows players to buy items directly rather than being at the mercy of the RNG. But there's a catch.
Yeah.
There is a catch. Only a limited number of items will be available in the store at a time, and the stock changes on a regular basis.
That part sounds terrible. The buying the gun straight up is not.
You will be able to buy guns specifically, but it will only be specific ones at a time. We don't know if this changes every
And
week, if it changes
and
every
what I'm
month.
thinking is the rare, like the let's say rare, uncommons, commons, ultra rares. And
Yeah,
stuff like
it's
that.
card-based.
Ultra rares will be like the most.
Yeah, we would assume that. We don't know how many different kinds of consumables will be available. One would figure armor power, ammo power.
Yeah, consumables and stuff like that. Probably.
Yeah, one can assume there'll be similar.
Probably
things.
they won't just sell like one at a time. It'll be like bunches, like at 5
Yeah,
or 10.
yeah. Maybe it'll be 3. Maybe it'll be 5. Maybe it'll be 10. Maybe it resets every week. Maybe
Three's
it only
still
resets every
five,
month. Maybe
at
it's
least.
bi-monthly. We don't know, but at the very least, it's better than just pure RNG. You have to play 400 hours plus on platinum
Okay.
to get everything.
400, you lightweight.
400 on platinum only, and you're speedrunning.
That's an
On
incredibly
platinum, it's still at least 900.
no. It took me way
Yes.
less than that.
Mm,
Either way, I don't have a max manifest. Static doesn't have a max manifest. Algorithm,
I'm
we're not
close.
going to talk about.
I'm close. It's
All right.
18.
From now on, we're only gonna play platinum.
Good.
That's
No,
something different.
no, please, no.
Beyond
Kiri,
what-
we need you to carry us.
Uh,
Don't worry, the backpack is ready.
oh, good.
I'm gonna post a little screenshot of what I can do if I have to, Carrie. It's fine.
Yeah, he didn't get like 300k in a game. No, he did.
That
Yeah,
never
that's-
happened.
It was stupid.
So I'm sure. I mean, day one, I'm gonna do a 24-hour multiplayer stream. We're gonna unlock as many things as possible. We're
That
gonna.
would be the one game that make me buy an Xbox One.
Maybe you should do it now, while you can get a bundle for like $220, $230.
No, it's fine.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to
Purpose.
play Andromeda, so you might as why wait till March to buy an Xbox One? Why not do it now when it's cheaper than it will be in 3 months?
He has a point.
I do. That's the thing. I bring points to conversations. It's a better use of your money and your time, Static.
Mm.
You can stockpile on the free games for golds. You could start playing with us on video games that are Mass Effect 3.
Hey, I can still do that.
You can.
Oh my
You
god.
can.
Oh,
but
weird.
we're playing it on the Xbox One because we have backwards compat using real controllers.
Hey. Play anywhere when
Yeah.
that fully gets institutionalized in the PC stuff. We're good. That's all I'm saying.
That's another thing I would like to see in Andromeda. That
Hey, I can
screenshot
already
just
join
posted.
Xbox One party, like parties from my PC. I'm good.
That screenshot I just posted in the Discord. Like, I can basically win a game by myself
Where'd you
in
post it?
Mass Effect 3.
Oh,
I'd like to get to that point in Andromeda reasonably, if it's even possible, or if they'll make more emphasis on extra team play and stuff like that.
Absolutely. There's definitely a bigger emphasis. I think there has to be a bigger emphasis on like a strategy. Obviously, there's going to be, some factions going to be more heavy on shields, one's going to be more heavy on armor, yada yada yada. There'll be differences within the factions, but the fact that we can make it harder than Platinum already is with these new modifiers, and the fact that cover is going to be better, and we're going to be able to use more powers because they have specific cooldowns, which means we can do more against them, and they can do more against us via these modifiers. So hopefully we'll figure out the max way, per minute for credits and experience, because there's also a prestige system, and that will give you bonuses. If you prestige a lot of, they say, tank characters, then all of your tank characters will get more defense or something like that. So there will be a prestige system. So guess who's going to start promoting his characters? This guy.
Oh, I already have
Finally.
like 20 on ME3.
I mean, there was
on this one
really
account.
no reason to in Mass Effect 3 than just make a number bigger.
Well, galactic readiness, like
Yeah, the
in
galactic
the single
readiness.
player. When you get like 10 on everything, it's already 100% full, and will never go down ever.
Yeah. Really
Well,
easy.
Regardless, I'm going to be prestiging and doing all the things, so we're going to find the
Oh yeah, I'm
strats.
going hard. And
We're going to
hard on
find the
that.
strats, see how long it takes to get that max manifest, and they're going to be updating, the multiplayer. I'm guessing for free, like they did in Mass Effect 3.
One can only hope, because you don't want to fragment your player base
They
like
also-
other games. God.
They updated it for free in DAI, so I would
Yeah.
imagine that.
I was going to say,
Smarter.
it did it in DAI, so I don't see how they wouldn't do it in Andromeda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the single
Especially-
player stuff will always
And just outright buy packs if you really want to. Or
Yeah,
could
you can buy
collectors
real money, Spectre packs like you can in Mass Effect 3.
as normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are microtransactions, but you don't need to. And then whenever some people hear microtransactions, they think, oh, they're lying to us. It means we need to be competitive. We've played a lot of Mass Effect 3. We and none
I'm
of us.
sure it's just going to be like the packs.
Hourpen spent some money because he had some. But
Oh, I did that. I bought one.
Yeah.
yeah.
I bought one pack because I had some money in my account.
But hey, if you
Same.
get one of the editions, then you get a couple free ones at the beginning. If you get the Super Mega editions, you get free one every month. So,
And I think you get 20 outright as well.
So yeah, that'll be super sweet. I'm still gauging on which edition I want to buy. I'm not super interested in the remote control, little big boy Mako, the not
Well,
Mako.
I'm gonna buy the digital version so I can play it as soon as possible.
Oh, yeah,
the
preview.
the one that you can do it. I think it's on the BioWare store or Amazon that you can buy the edition that gives you like a bunch of packs, the one that gives you the most. That one is you can do digital only
Ooh.
on that one.
That's
So
super.
I think I might be going down that route. Even though I love collecting physical things, playing it as soon as possible is definitely
You could just get
important.
Be some kind of scum
No.
both.
I'm not super impressed with their quote unquote like limited edition bonus with the remote control Nomad. I'm more of a
Hey, he said the
figure
word.
collector or poster kind of a guy, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. At the very least, I'm not buying the standard $60 edition. I'll be making some sort of upgrade because it's a game we're gonna be all playing a ton of, whether it be single player or multiplayer, because we all have multiple days in, at the very least, Mass Effect 3 and probably the other 2 installments as well.
Of
Well, by
course.
your own logic, that means I would probably get the $60 version because I want to start from scratch.
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare.
I would want to like maximize my gain.
But we don't know how long it's going to take to max manifest. I asked, Mike Gamble and Chris Wynn about it a year and a half ago, and they just gave me a bunch of, we have no idea faces.
Probably because they didn't know how many guns they were going to design.
Well, I mean, sure, there's a lot of things they didn't know back then, but one can hope and probably assume it won't take as long to max manifest in Andromeda than it does in 3. Because it can't, it's difficult to make it take that long.
Yeah, and that was all like RNG. You couldn't go specifically looking up the
And
You couldn't
in
just go, "Hey, I
Inquisition,
want
you
this
could
gun."
craft things that you wanted pretty early on.
And I feel like with that cycling, it is a good thing because then that means that if you really want something specific, but it's not in the store like that particular week, next week it might be, and you could just straight into buying that, and you could leave whatever was there the week before up to RNG.
Yeah,
and
my only
eventually-
problem with that is like with the rotations, like you could not see the gun you want for like months.
Right, it'd be like
Probably.
the freaking, what's his face in Destiny with the strange coins.
Well, it depends on how frequent they're
Xur?
going to be.
Xur.
Yeah.
We don't
I don't
know
even
how
play
many
that
will
thing,
be
like-
available and how long it takes for them to rotate. But they also said that the mission funds, or what were they called? Yeah, mission funds, you can spend them on something else that they aren't talking about, and I believe it's single player.
I
Hmm.
think it is.
So they're going to transfer over. That's interesting.
Yes.
At least to some
very-
degree.
Well, I saw Rieger 1 on the weapon wheel, so I assume you're going to upgrade weapons in the single
Yeah,
player.
we all figured that one. You
But
can do it it's in Mass Effect 3. You upgrade your weapons.
got to be multiplayer tied or at least be able to help with it.
Who knows? They said that multiplayer is going to do something for single player, not the
Yeah.
other way around. But it's not going to affect the ending. And they said that, they're getting rid of the Paragon and Renegade options to kind of like free it up because that's kind of
Yeah,
like an
what they did for
antiquated
Dragon Age, where
binary
they-
system. So like that's gone. That's never coming back, at least in a BioWare game, because that was interesting when it came out, and they started with Knights of the Old Republic, and then Fable picked it up, and a bunch of other games where it was just either good or bad, but like that was way too binary. So they're changing that, and I think it helps you have more of a personality as opposed to just being good or just being bad. You won't know if an action is more nice or more aggressive, but you're going to have, they aren't called interrupts anymore, but you're going to have those options available, and aren't inherently one thing or another. So that also means you're not going to get the Paragon or Renegade achievement. So there's 2 more achievements they have to make.
Well,
It was in the trailer as well, and it was a disarm, and it had a this is something that I actually did write down, and it had like a circular timer to show you how much time you had instead of just
Yes.
flashing for an indeterminate amount of time, and you just had to see it and quickly
yeah,
react.
it's more like determinative. Like you have to hit it
telling
within this like.
you
amount of
have-
time.
This many seconds to react.
Yeah,
And
they
pick.
they called it something, because they're not called interrupts. They're called like actions or
Yeah. I
dialogue
think it's a
actions.
Or something like that.
I forget what it was. They talked about it in the article here.
Yeah.
Called, it says dialogue interrupt, I think.
It's not called interrupt.
It's
Well-
not an interrupt.
Yeah, I put a
And
screenshot of
it's
what
probably
they were
not
talking about.
dialogue most of the time.
Yes.
It was something like action or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's-
figured it would be something more like action oriented.
So, what are your hopes for Andromeda Alverpen?
I honestly don't really know. Just let me play around with a lot of the multiplayer stuff, like the customizable powers. I want to know how far they're going to take that in multiplayer
Oh god,
at all.
Are you guys going to play single player or multiplayer first?
single player.
Multiplayer.
Well, maybe multiplayer first. I have no idea.
Single player.
It depends on how early I get it. Really,
Yeah. I'll be playing multiplayer first, but
If I
then
get
of
it a
course
bit
plenty of
late,
single player.
obviously.
One of the nice
multiplayer-
things about single player that'll get people used to multiplayer is that you can change your abilities whenever you want. You can spec out of biotic charge and get active camo or multi-frag or something. You can change
Flamer.
it. Yeah, or flamer or tech armor, the best ability ever.
It's
Obviously,
gonna be, if it works the way I think it's gonna work, it's gonna be so broken.
so
Oh my
you can try. Oh, there's gonna be something that's at the very least broken when the game first comes
Cloak
out.
with anything is broken. Let's be honest.
We don't know how it's gonna work. It is definitely a
Cloak,
possibility.
flame,
Definitely a possibility. There's a lot of different options, especially that you can change whenever you want. I don't think on the battlefield. I think once you're outside of your ship, then you can't change. But between missions, you can change, and you can also change your loadouts when you get those like drop pods. Even if you're not at the Tempest, when the drop pod comes down, like we saw in the footage at the
trailer.
Game Awards,
Yeah,
that's you can change your loadout there for your guns and stuff and armor.
probably
I would
just
assume,
your
as well.
weapons and armor, not
Yeah.
like powers.
Yeah, probably not your powers. That's probably only in between mission stuff. But at the very least, you can change your loadouts. Be like, fuck, I need a sniper rifle now. So now you bring out your Widow, your super new awesome Valiant or Viper, or the Raptor, the best sniper rifle ever made.
Now what I'm thinking about
Rise.
is reload to the last checkpoint. Where is it gonna go? Or like restart mission.
Might
It's
have
like,
both.
where are you gonna go?
Who knows? It could be to the last save point. It could be to the last safe zone. It could be before the last encounter started. I mean, it's a new video game. I'm sure it won't be something completely drastically different. But who knows? That's just
Like when you go to like, let's say restart mission, are you gonna go to the if you get to a point and you're like, okay, like when you're like just scoping out the level, it's just like, okay, there's like enemies over here, or you're just like running through it with like regular stuff, and then you want to like go in later.
Well, I believe you land with your Tempest, and then you have certain points that once you get to it, they're like camps or something, and then those become fast travel spots. And they said in the article that there'll be missions and or bosses and the vaults, which was a big thing that they brought up in the PS4 Pro thing, that you won't be ready for the first time that you encounter it, so you'll come back for it, or maybe you're just super baller and you can come in under-leveled and take out that boss for shits and giggles to impress people and get a ton of XP. Who knows? But there will be different points on an Earth that you can be at one time. It's not, you don't just start and stop at one point.
No, my like when I said it's like, let's say you're going in stealth and you have like cloak or like some of these like neutralizing powers like sneak past enemies or whatever, and then you're like, okay, I can get like either more XP or more resources just by running gunning. If you reset like your mission, will you be able to switch out your powers from that screen that it takes you to?
My guess is you might have a choice of like restart from where, possibly like restart from
question.
Yeah. That's
and
interesting.
and I want independent, like out of cover crouching. That's what I want. Just free roam crouch everywhere.
Free roam crouch, you mean teabag all the enemies?
Oh yes, let me teabag, please.
All the
Albert Penn
teammates.
found the thing that he wants in Andromeda. Oh yeah, teabagging. I need that. That's very
Crouching.
important. Put me in the tech test. I'll tell you. What
Great
you need
things
to
to
change.
We need
Fire
independent
to Albi.
crouching. That's not cover based. Gimme,
So,
gimme.
what else are you hoping for in Andromeda Static besides teabagging?
Not teabagging, crouching. Come on now.
Free roam crouching. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to crouch for the whole level. Maybe the guns that actually do damage.
More and more gold and platinum viable weapons, you mean?
Yeah. How about the
Anything
not
besides the
vindicators?
shotgun
How
is
about
kinda
that?
cute.
Can we have the not vindicators and not scimitars?
That would be great. That would be great. Maybe that'll be one of the unique missions. It's like, oh, you have to play, platinum against the Ket with only a Vindicator.
Oh god. That pains me.
Vindicator explosive rounds. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Oh, he hurt me.
Hopefully there'll be less useless things and more useful things as a whole. I mean, they are. I think I've seen them from a couple sources: swords and hammers and stuff, and hopefully
Yeah.
shields. Hopefully Omni shields.
Well,
That'd be
hopefully we get like to where there's like no not any powers like host dependent like Biotic Charge or Phase Disruptor or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like hope they work those kinks out. That'd be great.
especially for off host. Yeah,
Yeah, especially for off host. On host, you have no problem.
that would be great. That would be fantastic. I can't say that there are a lot of things outside of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer that are, certain key aspects of a game or a power or a gun or something are host dependent.
I just thought of something. Since they're probably gonna have like a wave killer, like a missile launcher or something. It's like,
Oh, you mean the skill button?
Yeah, the instant skill cannon.
Instant skill.
Probably work on that to where people can't missile glitch.
No missile glitching. That would
Yeah.
be great.
That'd
We all know
great.
there's going to be something that somebody finds on day one that they're going to exploit, and then that'll take like 1 or 2 or 3 weeks to fix. And there'll be buffs and nerfs to weapons and enemy factions, and the way
probably close flavor.
some maps are. They'll be like, "Oh fuck! Someone found a way to farm here by standing on the platform and this balcony."
Standing on this platform, cloaking him and flaming.
Yeah, just put a bunch of boxes in there. We'll be fine. Just close it up.
Just get every teammate, get cloak and flamer, and just win. And just win. That's all you need.
Yes. Kiri, what are your hopes for Andromeda?
I am really excited for the characters because I love BioWare games for their characters, and I know that this is going to be open and has space in it, and I don't want to be reminded of No Man's Sky at any point in this game. I don't want to feel like I'm getting bored because it's open and so open that it's empty. I want to see things populated and with characters that I actually either enjoy talking to or want to punch in the face. A good combination is quite healthy. But I really just don't want it to be too, so open that it's just too vast and just has nothing in it. And I trust that BioWare won't do it, but that's, my biggest hope for it.
Were you worried when you saw Ryder, pick up those plants on the ground?
I was a tiny little bit worried.
Well, they said in the article, speaking of open world and stuff, they said this isn't a sandbox game. It's open, but it's not an open world. You have freedom to do, things in order or in a certain way. I feel like some of the combat is going to be kind of like Crysis 2, in that you'll have different ways to approach battles because of, your jetpack and the way that you can move and the different weapons that you can swap out and things like that. So I feel like the combat is definitely going to be have more freedom. But as far as the open world aspect, I feel like it's not going to deviate a lot from Mass Effect 3, but it is going to be definitely more open as we first saw.
Yeah, that's exactly the
armor.
point.
That has to be
tech armor. That is an absolute
want that just goes unsaid. Tech armor
priority.
Oh, I was about to say, and that's exactly the point when I brought up reset the mission.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be. It's not a sandbox. It's open, but not in an open world sense that some people may accredit the term open world to. They don't want to call it that because of so many things that people attribute to those words. But I feel like you'll be able to come back to things. You could choose not to do something. You could just do it later. There's some things you're going to have to come back to do later, and there's some things that you're just going to want to come back to do, but you'll still have a set path. Here's the next objective. You could go to somebody and they'll say, go find a lost Krogan encampment, and you can do that side quest if you want, or you can not go to that planet, or you can go to that planet and do something completely different, or maybe sometimes you'll only have a couple of things to do. So I'm not super worried about that, but there will be some sort of gathering system, but I don't think we're going to be like, fuck, I need more carbon so I can put it in my spaceship so I can upgrade it to get to a different planet so I can find more stuff to upgrade my spaceship.
Fucking map is, I'm going to be planet scanning.
They learned their lesson from Inquisition, because Inquisition they called an open world game, and then they were criticized because it was kind of a little bit too open in that sense that it was a little empty.
I agree.
For my liking,
when you go into a level 40 area when you're 12.
Yeah. And you had the different areas, and that was fine. And it wasn't completely open. It was just open within a determined location, which is absolutely fine. but then people were complaining that it still had rules and limitations. I think it's because they called it an open world game and it wasn't quite an
A
open world
sandbox.
game. Yeah, it was more of a sandbox with open world mechanics to it.
Yeah.
So I feel like just making sure that it's not empty and it is full of things to do, people to see, and it's not so far away that you're just going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to sit here for 20 minutes and wait till I get to this planet. What's happening on Pokemon Go? You know, it's
I feel like it's going to be less like DAI and more like between ME3 and, say, Borderlands.
yeah,
In the
which
kind
is
of
what
like
I'm hoping.
choices that you have, but it's still it's not linear, but you can go towards a more linear route if you should so choose to do so. You'll always know what to do, and maybe you'll be more lost in this game than ME3, but I don't feel
most
like it'll be. I don't feel like it'll be a
Without doubt.
lot. Because
And
this is
that-
BioWare's biggest game in every single aspect. Every single
Yeah.
aspect. Size, the amount of studios working on it, the amount of dialogue. They say that the character with the least amount of dialogue in this game has more than the character with the most dialogue in ME3.
Yeesh.
And I think that adaptivity that you were
Does that
talking
count for
about with
cut
like,
content?
being able to adapt to battles and being able to like take different approaches is also something very important, because then it makes you feel like whatever class-ish abilities that you pick, you're not like forced to kind of do something that you wouldn't normally do because you're suddenly in a really small room with like 20 enemies and you have a sniper rifle. It'll be like you can assess the situation. It'll be a little bit more open, so you can pick, oh look, there's like a really good cover spot over in this corner. I don't have to go directly in front of me, crouch down, and just hope I don't die and just melee people when I get
Right.
Play
Corner.
Ring Arouse a Rosie with a Praetorian or something.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
won't. You probably won't
Around
be
the room.
punished in the sense that you have to do with things a certain way. You can brute force it. We have the biotic shield. We have the little cover tech barrier that we can deploy, or we can
we
stealth
have
our way
some kind of
around,
heavy melee.
and everything in between. We can do biotic explosions, tech explosions, flamer, multi-frag, incinerate, cryo, shield, sword, hammer. Obviously, Carnifex our way to victory.
Cloak, Inferno
Cloak.
Grenades, Flamer.
What about warp?
No, you don't need it.
You got-
They'll all die.
Got incendiary
Yeah.
cheese.
Warp is the best.
Have you seen the Krogan Soldier? Oh my god.
Yeah.
He just says fortification. That's not even cloak. Damage boost.
There are
Stupid.
definitely going to be some speedrun builds. That's no question.
Oh yeah.
There's so much freedom in the game of abilities that you can use and the way to approach combat. It seems like that many people, of course, it's going to be improved over and over again. But there's going to be some things on the onset where people are like, I'm speedrunning with this build on this level, and I change it for this level, and so on and so forth.
I would like an incentive to play different maps and factions. Like if you're playing the same like map and faction over and over again, it gradually gives you less and less like XP and money to force you to play other characters and maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's not
think
like White get like for like 7 hours.
they definitely are going to be giving us more things in multiplayer with the modifiers and the mission funds. And-
add all the modifiers that are going.
And of
against
course,
you.
there are probably more unlockables. I would assume there's going to be more cosmetic changes, because there's going to be more cosmetic changes in the single player than any of the previous BioWare games.
Yeah, well, speaking
So-
of like multiplayer characters, I just thought of something. It was like when you're like picking a character, does their like race and their affinity with like say biotics affect like what they use as tech wise, or if like a tech
In multiplayer?
based race would benefit more from a tech power than a biotic?
Well, I would assume that the multiplayer isn't going to be changing how they do the class system. That'd be because that's the way it is in Mass Effect 3. You can't do the same things for loadouts. So I would assume we would have similar kind of Mass Effect 3 loadouts in Andromeda, and how they deal with, you have Sentinels, and you have your Infiltrators, and your Adepts, and your Vanguards, and your Soldiers.
Yeah, but like the race, like what if you're like there's a tech-based race that can't use biotics at all, but in the multiplayer you see one running around with warp and pull or whatever. It's just like, what?
Well, I don't think we'll
That
we'll
would
be.
pull me out of the
I don't think we'll be
experience,
seeing
maybe.
that in multiplayer because we don't have like Geth and ME3 that can use biotics.
Well, Quarians, I mean, maybe like the one we see ever.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows if we'll see Volus or Quarians or
Probably not Volus.
probably not Volus, probably not
Maybe a
Batarians
Quarian.
or
Maybe like a
Elcor.
coin that like stowed away or something.
Still holding out for Blasto DLC because we did see that Blasto O's
That's a good job.
is a serial within the Andromeda universe. So they at the very least watch Blasto films. So I'm
Yeah.
holding out for that.
But I doubt any of the jellyfishes are alive.
Possibly no Hanar, except for Blasto, who is of course immortal as he is our Lord and Savior.
And no Bolus except for Biotic God because he is also immortal.
Yes.
Everyone hurts, man.
And we can only hope and pray for more Elcor poetry.
Oh, and we can only hope and pray that they don't bring explosive rounds back. Oh God.
Or make them good. Either. I don't care which. I don't
They
care
were
which.
only good for killing one thing, and that was in Mass Effect 2. That sad little Volus.
when I did ask the Bioware team a while ago, what about Elcor poetry? They were like, you know what, we haven't ruled that one out yet. And I was like, yes. So yeah, any closing thoughts by anybody? I myself, I'm just hoping tech armor, all the things, a lot of different kinds of romanceable options. I'm sure we all had our favorite, straight and gay relationships in the trilogy, and so more of that. And obviously, the multiplayer has to be really good and be less RNG based when it comes to getting a max manifest, and hopefully there'll be all kinds of new things to do as well as like events and stuff to unlock and stuff like that. So anybody else?
I want my N7 Fury back. That's for damn sure.
Oh, you will have it. Don't worry. You will find a way.
One
Make it work.
nitpick, I guess. Just remove friendly screen check for the love of God.
Oh, yeah. Fucking shockwave spammers. Oh, God.
Dark
Get
channel.
rid of it.
Dark channel, like grenades, just multi-frag.
Or the
Yeah.
sound tear when you have cluster grenades going off and there's an explosion. It's like
I had one thought about the romances, just don't make them be able to just hey, you or you. It's lock them out sometimes. It's do that. Don't just make it where you can just get anyone eventually.
Right. I can definitely see them because they're hinting at a lot of different nuanced changes to the romance system.
Yeah, that was my first thought when they were talking about it. I was like, don't make it to where you could just bang anyone eventually.
Mm.
I mean, I'm gonna want to bang some people or aliens at some point.
Lock some out because of your race or your gender, maybe. Or
Oh,
at
so
least
if you're
Like
not
gender
biologically suitable for a race to mate, you don't want to be able to romance them.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Quarian. But
Oh, maybe-
that's the
I mean-
exception.
But what about Omnics and humans living together? I'm sure they can't procreate, but they want to be able to get married.
But they're
doesn't-
not deadly to each other.
I'm sure malware can be an STD. I don't know.
Oh my god.
This platform doesn't know.
Only if they have a pacemaker. Don't worry.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
we can stop talking about that now.
No.
Feel free to stop.
Because there were even some non-romance relationships that I thought were really cool, even if they could be romance and you chose not to. Like with what's the name of the pilot in ME3 who lost his husband?
Steve Cortez.
yeah.
Steve Cortez. Yeah, I really liked.
Oh, you
I
can
really
romance
liked.
him.
Yeah, I know you can, but even playing a straight male Shep or a female Shep, that relationship was still, I feel like, really cool, even though it wasn't
It was.
romantic.
Yeah, it was really odd. what the Caden and Ashley thing though is like you can romance Caden as a male or a female, but Ashley is just like no male only. It's like what?
Yeah,
Do what?
and you could romance Jack as a male, but not a female, even though
Not as
she
a
was
female.
bi.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of things they can and cannot do.
And what we're gonna see is like there's gonna be stuff that isn't gonna be fleshed out even in the final version, or stuff that might be cut or anything.
Input into DLC.
Oh, yeah.
As long as
How do you
we
feel
don't
about
need, like,
DLC romance
no.
options?
as long as we don't need like a Citadel DLC to make anything in the story feel justified or better, and they don't sacrifice story quality for things to do in the world, I think they're gonna be fine in terms of that.
There are definitely a lot of things that they're keeping in mind from mistakes from ME1 and 2 and 3 that they're going to want to either change or avoid altogether. So
Yeah, but even with all that, it's still like,
yeah, it's not going to be a 10 million out of a 10 million game. Even if we think it's the best game ever, there's still going to be some things like I wish this was like this or this is like this, because we all are different people and we have opinions.
I still thought Mass Effect 3 was great,
Yeah, I think it was the best
I
game
love
ever
that
made.
despite a lot of people like miffing on the ending. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. Even though there's
It was a great ride.
48 million permutations of the game, people judged it from its last 30 seconds. Like, okay, that's fair.
I only judged the ending slightly because of Marauder. But, our true final
And Mass
boss.
Effect is always about the journey rather than the ending. Like in my view of it, it was always the journey and the people that you had with you on the journey rather than how are we going to end this.
It was the journey, not the destination. Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting a sense that they're avoiding a specific, a changeable ending. I feel like they're shooting
gonna,
for
like-
everyone gets the same ending kind of a thing.
I feel like they're going to do that so that they can keep it its own story, like still
Yes.
open enough to be able
Yes.
to do something else, but still close enough that you can get to the end and you can feel, okay, that was a full adventure. It's not like, oh, there needs to be like another 2 games worth of content just to
Yeah,
finish this.
they're
Like-
setting it out as a solo game, but they say that's
Yeah, it's going to be 2 metal prongs, and then you're going to run electricity to it, and then there's going to be lightning shooting across, creating different arcs.
because when asked, you have multiple endings to aim for, and they say they're avoiding that. They're avoiding that. They say that they want to leave the ending and what they're doing with it as a surprise, and it's going to be a different
I wanna
type of
see a
story. So we're going to be seeing something different than what we saw in the trilogy.
I think there's going to be one ending, but it's going to be like a journey like through as you
Yeah,
experience.
it's going to be more of a hero's journey because of where we're starting off with Ryder, as opposed to where we started off with Shepard, where he was already a hero and already a commander of his own ship.
And we have our dad's shadow to like step out of because he's an N7 operative. Like there's always that bravado with being an N. Like you have to kind of step out of that.
Oh
and
my
come into
god, you're fucking Ryder's kid? That dude can jump with an Omni Blade and stab a motherfucker. That dude's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
a
no.
possibility.
Oh God, now we're stuck with you. Like you're gonna have to get out of that and become your own person. And that's part of like the whole personality developing thing where you put yourself into the shoes. And that's why you're not a Mary Sue as a writer, no matter who you pick.
Yep.
Because it's
Fucking
part
hate
of your
that
development to as yourself as well as writer be like, okay, I have to step into my own. Right, that's time for me to step on up. Let's go. Let's do this.
Absolutely.
It's just like don't make the character be above everything through all odds. Give them flaws.
Yeah.
Make them characters, not these John Everyman, Mary Sue characters that.
Well, I mean, I think that's a lot of that's going to
say
be up
they
to
don't
you.
want, but they want.
The Ryder's definitely going to be a much difference. Not only is they have a sibling, which is the first in Mass Effect, and I don't know, have there been other BioWare games where you have a family member that's like integral to the story?
Yes, but not in the sense that you see them like as often as you like, assuming that.
Well, I
know,
mean,
nothing.
even your like characters from previous games can come back into the AI, like the hero from
Yes,
Golden and stuff like
But
that.
they're not family related unless your Warden and your Hawk were cousins and they don't see each other. But I am referring to Origins because you can have siblings who kind of like turn up in quests that were related to your origin. Like if you had ties to the quest that you were doing. If you were a dwarf, then you could have a half sister, and she turns up in the dwarf main story for the game. So you of course can interact for that way, but it's not like throughout the whole thing. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, hey sis, haven't seen you in like 6 months. Okay, bye. I solved the problem. I'm leaving.
They
Gotta
weren't
go
just
kill
like
dragons.
integrated into the story.
Yeah, it was kind of just a, yeah, you have family. Off you go. Go do your thing. Don't
Like
worry
in the
about the
first
family.
like Mass Effect where you just talk to your mother. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
you're there.
And the
Bye.
third one in the
Oh
real
yeah, I
DLC.
forgot about that.
Mom, hey Hannah. Bye Hannah.
And
Get
like her
pilgrimage.
friend and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you're there. Bye. I'm fucking off over here now.
But there's never been actually build a relationship. It's always kind of just been, here's an established relationship that you can just
Here's the peg.
kind of
Watch me flick it away.
leave.
All right. Well, I think that about does it on podcast 3, talking about Mass Effect Andromeda, multiplayer, boning aliens, and character development,
And the not Mako.
and the not Mako,
When
obvious, the
bitches.
Nomad. He'll thrust her into our hearts somehow. I'm sure, or her, however you want to depict your Nomad. I'm sure it's
No,
customizable.
don't start
in the
with
game.
this. Don't start
I'm not going to assume the gender of a genderless machine that has no personality or AI. But that about does it. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Kiri and Static and Alverpen, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll talk about or see new stuff from Mass Effect that gets us excited and want to talk about it.